All right, here we are, Kinesiology 220. This is Introduction to Coaching, and we are now in the course syllabus and schedule tab over here to the left. So I'm obviously shooting this video now, so I'll post this by the time you see this. This video will be up right here. But here's the deal. Let me open up the video or the syllabi. So when we go into this, the syllabus itself is a three-party document. It specifies things specific between the college, the student, and the instructor. It also outlines things specific towards the course, and it also provides a bit of an informational component regarding resources on campus. So let's jump into this. I'll let you read through this at your leisure, but there's definitely a couple points I want to hit. We know this is a 3-credit course. We know this is all online, asynchronous. Everything is delivered and graded online. And with that, the actual course itself, the schedule, we start on We start on June 2nd. Last day to drop and last day to withdrawal are denoted here. You have June 9th and July 14th. I would urge you to reach out to me beforehand because many times what may seem like a situation that you just can't dig yourself out of is actually resolvable. So check with me first before you drop. Maybe it's something we can resolve. We're closed, or the college is closed on Juneteenth, so June 19th, and then also closed for Independence Day on July 4th, which is Friday, which I'll outline that here in a second in terms of what I'm doing for this class. My information, the best way to reach me is at afleisch@harpercollege.edu. My full name is Adrian Fleischer, Fleischer. Just when I started here 6 years ago, this is the way they did emails, and this is based on a number of characters they had, I lost the R in my email address. So I'm not Adrian Fleisch, my name is Adrian Fleischer. Long story short, but that's the best way to reach me, afleisch@harpercollege.edu. If you need to meet, we can definitely arrange to do that. That can be done via WebEx. Not a problem. We just have to arrange to make that happen. Course description. This is something you would have seen when you originally signed up for the course. And you can read through this, but I want to point out that the American Sports Education Program, the ASEP bronze status that they denote here, this has actually changed over the last couple of years to where it's the Human Kinetics Coaching Education course. And so I will just intermittently state back and forth either ASEP or Human Kinetics Coaching Education course, the CEC. But long story short, this class provides information and guidance through these course outcomes down here to prepare you for coaching certification as part of your endorsement in physical education. So for example, say you want to be a coach in Illinois, and you want to coach anywhere from K through 12, this would be the course you would complete, or this would be the certification you would complete, the Human Kinetics Coaching Education course, to be able to do that. With that, these are the 16 main takeaways. We have 20 chapters for this book, and we're going to end up cranking through a bunch of information in a short amount of time, but these will be the main takeaways that we're going to have course outcomes. When we get down to here, the book itself is Martin's, and it was revised in 2024. It's been around for a while, but we're now into the 5th edition. I've provided both the ISBN for EPUB and also for paperback. It's pretty easy to find if you just go to Human Kinetics. Our bookstore has it as well. But I'll tell you, like Human Kinetics, they make it super easy because it's one of their own books. Scroll down a little bit further, you definitely will need some access to technology. You have to be able to log in and do everything through Blackboard. If you don't have access to that, we have resources on campus to be able to pick up a loaner notebook. But also, if you have trouble with Blackboard, you can either visit the Blackboard app website or the student service desk or give them a call. With that, we move into grades, and this is what everybody wants to know, right? When I create courses, I don't make it an all or none proposition where you have a midterm and a final, and that's it. If you bomb one, you bomb the course. I'd rather have multiple assignments, and this class has 5 different modules because the book has 5 main parts, and my thought was, let me just keep it simple, to the point. You'll see here in a second how it's laid out. And that way I'm not trying to break information from one chapter to another chapter to try to really fine tune this thing. I kept it simple in terms of did 5 main modules for the 5 main parts of the book. To that end, with the course itself, you have 5 post and response, 1 at the end of each module. You have 2 written assignments for each module, which those will be pretty straightforward and provided by the book, and they support learning outcomes towards the coaching education course. You'll have a quiz for each chapter, and we have 20 chapters, so 10 points each, and then we have 5 exams, one at the end of each module. Now, each module is roughly about 10 days with a little break in there for the holiday, and I'll get to that in a moment. But what I want to point out, because I always have a student who will reach out to me at the end of the term and say, why did I get an F? I showed I had 97% in Blackboard. Well, it's because you did 97% work. You did really good work, but you only did 200 points worth of work. And to that end, you didn't have enough to even qualify to get close to a D. But the long story of this is, to make it short, just keep in mind for the course, 575, you can multiply that by 0.9 so you know how many points you need to get on the A train. But always, every term, every class, no matter how much I articulate this right here in this video, I always have a student who tells me they did 97%, but maybe they only did the quizzes. It's still an F. So you make sure you do your work. It's the best way I can describe it. So further down, category descriptions, if you wish to read further regarding each one of those, you can do so right there. Grading policies, please get your stuff in on time. I do have a little quiz or questionnaire that I put in the post and response. I'm asking for your thoughts on this in terms of, it's a fast moving class. I'm creating content as we go because it's my first time teaching it. Would you like me just to release content and have it open and be able to just have the content open all the way until the 26th, and I submit my grades on the 27th, as opposed to having 10-day windows for you to do each module? But let me know. Look in the post and response section. Regarding late work, oh geez, I'll tell you, there's one thing that drives me nuts when I'm grading stuff in week 8 that should have been handed in week 1. Please get your stuff in on time, best you can. If you can't, try to arrange something with me before. It just drives me nuts to try to unlock things as we go through a course. And college policies, please read through this. If you're in a 200 level course, I'm sure you're familiar with academic dishonesty. I know I talked a little bit about ChatGPT and large language models in my introduction. Be cautious of plagiarism, for sure, if you're using that as a tool to help you revise. Beyond that, we have a number of different disclosures down here that I urge you to read through in terms of whether it's equal education opportunity statement, plagiarism, etc., or even further down here when we get into disputes and student conduct. So with that, if I go a little bit further down, beyond protections in place and privacy acts in college ed, we have Blackboard privacy and accessibility statements. Further down here, we have student support resources. And I always highlight this because I'm going to tell you right now, you're in an environment that's so resource rich, and you probably won't have an opportunity to be in something so resource rich ever again. And if you're somebody who is maybe having some issues in terms of family, life, food insecurity, travel insecurity, grades, you have maybe some illiteracy issues, you have some computer issues, whatever it may be, there are so many resources on a college campus to help you. It's really amazing how many resources you have. And I always say this every term. I would be probably your first line of communication in that to point you in the right direction. Your second would be the student resources page here, 100%. You know, this page here has all those resources listed for you, and I would urge you to take a look at that, because no student ever needs suffer in silence, ever, 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 ever. You can self-advocate to me, you can self-advocate through the resources here, but believe me when I tell you, you're in a resource-rich environment. Take advantage of it. If you have like an IEP or any other learning issues where you have to have quizzes or exams read to you, I will receive an email from ADS informing me of this and certain accommodations. But I would definitely appreciate if you could reach out to me and let me know, and I can connect the dots between ADS and you and myself to be able to offer a good learning environment. So here we go. Here's the schedule. So when I broke this out, I normally do 8-week courses, and I do 4 modules, and I do 2 weeks per module. When I looked at it, because the book had 5 different parts to it, it would have been just a bit of a disaster to try to break it up into 4 different modules. So I just went with 5. And I always do like a Roy G. Biv thing, red, orange. This is yellow, but I'm in midnight mode here. But red, orange, yellow, green, and blue. And I just went right through the chapter, right through the book, chapter by chapter, because they have part 1 is chapters 1 through 4, part 2 is chapters 5 through 8, etc. And you can see here during module 1, this is from June 2nd to June 11th. Red, here you have chapters 1 through 4. Everything's due by June 11th at 11:59 p.m. and these are the assignments that are due. So here was my thought process. You have 8 weeks at 7 days a week. 7 times 8 is 56. And then you have a little bit of like a rough introduction. Then you have the outro at the end where you have to kind of clean things up. So that takes 2 days off the schedule. But when you look at it, 4th of July is on a Friday. And my thought was, if I do this with 10-day modules, so each one of these is 10 days, when we get to 4th of July, it's actually going to be the 1st of July, that's a Tuesday. We can take Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and kind of give ourselves a little bit of a mini break in there in the middle of summer, because everybody's going to be barbecuing. Nobody wants to work on a paper. Who wants to deal with that stuff when you'd rather be looking at fireworks or, you know, over at the fair or being with family? So my thought was, let's go ahead and put a little break right in there. We'll do 10-day modules. We'll do 5 of them for 50 working days for class. And it's still going to be pretty compressed. We're going to have a lot of work going in here, but our 5 modules will tie out. So with that, guys, I'm going to break out of this. Your next stop will be to go ahead and go into, learning modules. So from here, jump yourself over to learning mods, and I'll have another presentation for you, just kind of going over and aligning what we just talked about with the course schedule. All right, guys, thanks.